China has been the world's largest electric car market since 2015, as Tesla's China sales tripled to $1 billion in 2016, then to $2 billion in 2017. It became evident that the EV maker had a market in China. The government has done everything it can to help Tesla succeed, from sales tax exemptions to billions of dollars in financing for the construction of its Shanghai facility. According to reports, Chinese leaders had grown frustrated with domestic electric vehicle companies' performance and saw Tesla as an opportunity to reset the country's auto industry. But the same leaders are now turning their backs on Tesla. In this video, we will look at the relationship between the Chinese government and Tesla, how it has developed over the years, and why it has been deteriorating recently. Despite being based in California, China seems to be Tesla's breeding ground. It has provided the company with cheap land, loans, tax exemptions, and subsidies. It also enabled Tesla to operate its own facility in China without the involvement of a local partner, the first exemption for a foreign manufacturer in China. However, as other automakers had discovered, the U.S. trade war with China was a big hindrance to selling vehicles there. Due to high taxes imposed on Teslas imported into China, an $80,000 Model S from the United States was selling for roughly $140,000 in China. The only option to sell cars to Chinese consumers on a bigger scale would be to manufacture them in China. However, the cost of manufacturing cars in China was not inexpensive. Government policy required foreign automakers to collaborate with a Chinese joint venture partner and share revenues. However, the country began relaxing these prohibitions in 2018. Elon Musk was eager to capitalize, signing a contract in July to build a fully owned facility in Shanghai. Musk built Tesla's third gigafactory with $1.6 billion in investment from Chinese banks and record-breaking government clearances. The facility was already producing vehicles by August 2019. So why has Tesla been welcomed so warmly in China? To begin, China generates an enormous sum of money from manufacturing alone. The Shanghai facility was almost entirely financed by state-controlled banks, who can expect a substantial return on their investment. Furthermore, Tesla paid for a 50-year lease on the site, which goes straight to the Chinese government. Furthermore, 30% of the factory's parts are sourced locally. There's also the issue of the environment. With its 1.4 billion residents and some of the world's most polluting cities, China is doing everything it can to favor EVs. Electric cars are less expensive to register and much more convenient for Chinese buyers. Under these conditions, traditional cars with license plates ending in an odd digit are allowed on roadways on odd dates, and those with an even digit on even dates. EV drivers can drive their vehicles on any given day. Since 2009, the Chinese government has granted incentives to electric car manufacturers and buyers, providing an appealing market for EV makers. One such subsidy paid up to $8,800 to taxi fleets and local government agencies for each hybrid or EV purchased, and it was expanded to include consumers in 2010. The government exempted pure electric, fuel cell, and plug-in hybrid vehicles from the annual vehicle tax the next year. The state electric utility has also installed charging stations in important cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin. But following the events in the past few months, it's clear that Beijing is looking for what's known in the business world as the catfish effect, throwing an aggressive fish into a pool to make the established occupants swim faster. New EV models are being introduced, including by traditional car manufacturers, enhancing brand competition while also providing consumers with additional options. The arrival of the Tesla Model 3, one of China's best-selling electric vehicles, has changed the game for the industry. Until recently, the majority of EVs on the market were converted from ICE cars. They had all the drawbacks of EVs: high price, short driving range, inconvenient charging, but none of the benefits, such as smart driving capabilities, increased sitting space, and a better driving experience. Tesla's success boosted the business case for domestic EV startups like NIO, Xpeng, and Li Auto, while driving established automakers back to the drawing board to create EVs from the ground up. NIO, which was created in 2014, now provides 3 premium electric SUVs. Li Auto sells hybrid EVs, with the Li 1 SUV being the top-selling EV SUV in China in September 2020. Xpeng manufactures and sells premium electric vehicles positioned as less expensive alternatives to Tesla's Model Y SUV and Model 3 sedan. This year, conventional automakers such as Volkswagen, Geely, and BMW will introduce new models that were designed from the start to be electric vehicles. However, the Tesla-China relationship has begun to erode as a result of the US-China tech war and China's concerns about spying rumors. The Chinese government has expressed serious concerns that Tesla vehicles could be used for spying in the country. The People's Liberation Army, China's military, issued a directive last year prohibiting Tesla owners from parking their vehicles on bases and in housing complexes. The issues appeared to be tied to Tesla's use of cameras everywhere around its vehicle and where the data is going. Musk responded to the report by saying the obvious. Tesla is not using its vehicle's cameras to spy on China, but it didn't appear to calm down the suspicions, as even more government bodies reportedly warned staff not to park their Tesla vehicles on government property. Following those events, Tesla later said it would keep all data collected in China on its own servers. Tesla established a new data center in the country a few months later to do precisely that, but it didn't seem to ease all concerns. The local traffic officials in Bedaiheqi stated in June 2022 that all Tesla vehicles would be restricted from its roads for at least 2 months. Bedaiheqi is a summer resort town not far from Beijing that has been known to host meetings of the Chinese leadership. Tesla vehicles will be restricted from entering the Chinese coastal district of Bedaiheqi, which hosts an annual summer party leadership conference. Moreover, despite China's determination to overtake the United States as the world's leading superpower without anyone's help, they will need American technology, knowledge, and capital to do so. Attracting high-end manufacturing, which Tesla does, is a top objective. More than that, China's leadership wants to make Tesla and other multinational companies reliant on the Chinese market in order to gain strategic leverage over their home governments. President Xi Jinping once stated that deepening China's involvement in global industrial chains was vital because doing so will develop an effective deterrent against attempts by other countries to sever our supply chains. Musk fits right in with China's objectives. That wish came true. Tesla altered the image of electric vehicles, resulting in a significant increase in overall electric vehicle sales in China after Tesla began selling locally built models on a big scale in 2020. On top of that, Musk enhanced the entire sector by developing a world-class supply chain in the country. However, risks to Musk's China company are on the horizon. Washington is losing patience with American businesses that collaborate with China in ways that endanger U.S. national security. Biden imposed tough and broad controls on the sale of advanced semiconductors and chip-making equipment to China in October, a significant shift in policy aimed at stifling Chinese efforts to develop its industry, and a sign of Washington's new willingness to rely more heavily on private commerce to protect national security. Congress has considered, but has yet to act on a plan that would allow the government to screen outbound investment by U.S. corporations, another potential policy reform aimed squarely at China. Add to that the United States' growing concern about China's human rights violations, and Musk and other American business executives are finding it increasingly difficult to strike a balance between Washington and Beijing. Musk must contend with the prospect that Washington will eventually construct impediments to his China aspirations. However, the greater threat for Musk may come from Beijing. Chinese policymakers are just as determined as their counterparts in the United States to defend their economy from deteriorating relations. Xi has stepped up his self-sufficiency program, which includes a frantic push to build high-tech businesses, including electric vehicles, with significant infusions of state money. The goal is to replace imported products with local alternatives in the domestic market and to cultivate Chinese champions capable of competing worldwide with Western rivals such as Tesla. The Chinese government has not invested a fortune to support its own electric vehicle production capability just to see Musk ride away with the industry crown. Tesla may thus outlive its usefulness in China, and policymakers may roll back the red carpet. China's officials might easily favor local competitors over Tesla by delaying or refusing the permits or approvals Musk would need to expand in the country. The perils of investing in China are increasing as U.S.-China ties deteriorate. Major U.S. banks recently committed to withdrawing from China if Washington orders them to do so in response to a possible Chinese attack on Taiwan. That demonstrated how the chance of a conflict, which was formerly thought to be distant, has now become a serious consideration for business abroad. Musk does not appear to be very concerned at the time. He continues to invest in China and recently completed an extension of his activities in Shanghai, despite admitting in a Financial Times article that a war over Taiwan would inflict serious economic damage.